Home of the prodigal son, young Chad Townsend. And Chad Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine home. Townsend.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Chad Townsend Show. If you're new here, please make sure you do subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like this video and drop us a comment. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And if you've got a question, we answer a lot of questions here on the podcast. So drop it in the comments below. And if you're listening over on the audio platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, please make sure you rate and review our podcast. It is a small thing for you guys to do, but it means a lot to me. So I really do appreciate all of your support. And let's move into this week's podcast. But Victor, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. How was your weekend? Tell me about it.
It was great. We played soccer, obviously, on Sunday.
I feel like the people, now that they've been listening for a couple of weeks, they need to know about your soccer a bit more.
My soccer? I play all age fives. It's a pretty shit league. It's not professional, but we play for Cronulla Stingrays.
Yeah, Matt.
All age fives. We won. We're coming fourth now, so top four.
Yeah, gross.
And
you need to let the people know that you scored two goals.
Yes, everyone. We can roll the clip. I've got a clip of my penalty, so maybe we'll put it in there.
Actual? Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll roll the clip. I'll show you after.
All right, show me
We'll
after.
cut it up.
Anyway, you can chuck it in after. Mate, let's move in to this week's episode. We're going to have a look at what's trending in the NRL, the biggest news, the biggest stories, and react to those. We're going to have a look at the round 18 games. Only 5 games this past weekend, obviously due to Origin. And Origin preview. We're going to have a quick look at Game 3 for Origin. Obviously, all the moments from this weekend's games. We're going to have a look at the top 5. Now, the top 5 news segment, which we brought in last week. Last week, we had a look at the balls. This week, we're having a look at the top 5 best try celebrations of all time. Obviously, it is Try July at the moment, so you'll see a lot more of the players celebrating, which I absolutely love. I encourage everyone to do it all year round, not just in July, but obviously you can celebrate in July and not get the mickey taken out of you by people. So that's why the players tend to do it more in July. We've got our big footy guy of the week, and as always, we finish with our fan questions. So like I said at the top of the show, if you do have a question, drop it in the comments below or on our social media, and we will answer the best ones here on the show. So let's get into it. This week, what's trending in the NRL? Now, we're going to start off this week's podcast with the very sad news of Cam Munster's father passing away. We just want to send our condolences to Cameron Munster and his family. It's just an unbelievably sad thing to happen for Cameron and his family. And obviously, ahead of Game 3 State of Origin, obviously Cam Munster's just been announced Queensland captain, which is a huge honour for him. And, when I heard the news, it just brought immediate sadness. Basically, obviously there's going to be, or there has been, so much build up throughout this Origin, and obviously a lot of back and forth with, New South Wales and Queensland. But then when you hear of, this sad news, it just kind of puts life into perspective about the things that are really important. And it almost was just like, this game is, it's a big game, but it's like, there are more things to life than an Origin decider at this moment. So, just want to send our love and condolences and prayers to Cam Munster and his family. It's, by all reports, he's going to come back and play, which is absolutely massive, for him. So, really, really sad way to start the week. But obviously, we're wishing him all the best. So, let's have a look at this Origin game. Origin 3, it's an absolute beast of a build-up. Beast game, sold-out crowd in Sydney. And I feel like this game has had a lot of stories around Queensland for Game 3. Obviously, there's some of the selections. Gamut Shibasaki makes his Origin debut in the centres, in a decider in Sydney. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than that for Gamut. We spoke about Gamut last week and how much he deserves this opportunity and the journey he's had to get to where he is. Obviously, Queensland also lost Kalen Ponga a couple of weeks ago due to injury, so they had to obviously make a decision there at fullback between Hammer and Reece Walsh. They opted with Hammer at fullback, Reece Walsh at 18th man, and we feel like both of those guys could have done a good job, but obviously Billy's gone with Hammer for his reasons. Papali'i, the barnstorming front rower from the Canberra Raiders makes a return to Origin after retiring from Origin a couple of years ago, and what an honour for him, I guess, just being back in the fold. And obviously his form at Canberra has been outstanding so far this year, playing in the Raiders, who have been really, really hot so far this season. So it's going to be a massive game for him coming back into the Queensland team. And for New South Wales, well, we've had a relatively unchanged and undisrupted lineup pretty much the whole series, to be honest. We've had like one or two changes. That's it. We've kept pretty much the whole team, which has been great. But obviously the build-up to Game 3 has had a couple of injuries that's been talked about. Obviously, Payne Haas, Brian To'o, and Hudson Young didn't train or haven't done too much training ahead of Game 3. Now, I'm pretty sure by reports Payne Haas has had to get an injection in his back, a cortisone injection. Obviously, some doubts there. But I think they're all due to train today, Monday, which is their main session. Then tomorrow they kind of dial things down a bit at the main field, and then Wednesday obviously for game day. So look, there's a little bit of doubts on some of their key players for Game 3, but having, I guess, under their belt the fact that they've spent a lot of time together already, they understand the game plan, they understand the structures and things like that. Like, I think they'll be relatively fine. Now, one of the other things we noticed about Game 3 was Isaiah Katoa. Victor loves Isaiah Katoa, don't you, Victor?
Love him. I love the way he plays, man.
Big fan.
Massive fan of Isaiah Katoa.
I'm a big fan as well. I love Isaiah Katoa, and he's been brought into camp in New South Wales for Game 3. Obviously, we saw that photo that went across social media of him and Nathan talking about whatever they were talking about. Would have been an interesting conversation, but he's been brought in on the back of some of his outstanding form so far this season. And it's interesting to note that obviously Isaiah Katoa is a Panthers junior. You know what I mean? This kid was poached by the Dolphins, paid a really nice deal for him to leave the Dolphins. But like, that just goes to show the Panthers production line. The kids they have out there.
They produce again.
They produce again and again. These youngsters that just come in and can make an effect at the NRL level. So Isaiah Katoa, well done for him for getting involved in Game 3 camp. The sold-out crowd. Now, this is going to be a massive factor. It always is in Origin. And that's why when New South Wales won Game 1 in Queensland, it was more than a win. When you can win Game 1 on away turf, like, it is huge. You see the NBA and their finals series, how much home turf, how much it means, protect the home. So it's massive for us here in Origin. We have a clear advantage. Obviously, I feel like we have a much more settled team, but the fact that we're playing in front of a sold-out crowd in Sydney just swings it in our favour a lot more. And I'm not sure of the betting odds at the moment, but I feel like we would be favourites by a significant margin. Now, that can obviously play into two parts. I feel it can either obviously put a lot more pressure on you because you are the favourites that you should win, and then obviously it gives like the other team, like Queensland at the moment, you'll probably say that they're underdogs. Did you have an update on the odds?
Yeah, before I tell you, as a player, do you know the betting odds before you go into a game?
Good question. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and I don't really care, to be honest.
No, yeah, of course.
I mean,
Don't look into it.
I don't really look into it, but sometimes if I don't know, if I'm just looking at the NRL website or something, it just pops up in my face and I see it and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? But I've played in games where I've been an $11 underdog and won.
Yeah, that was the Panthers Roosters.
That was the game at the start of the year. But then I've also been like $1.20 favourite and lost in the team. You know what I mean? So the thing with the NRL this year is that anyone can beat anyone on any day. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's probably the past couple of years, the top teams have always kind of been the top teams. So I would say that players are potentially aware of it, but don't really read into it too much. So,
well, New South Wales, they're paying $1.40 and Queensland paying $3.
Yeah.
So heavy favourites.
Significant outsiders at the moment. And that's what I mean at the moment. Like, that's what the people are saying, or the people who are betting on the game, they think New South Wales are going to win. But it can go in two favours. I mean, you look at some of the games so far this year where there have been underdogs. Like, that game where the Roosters, we played the Panthers at the start of the year. We were significant underdogs and we won.
Yep.
The game a couple of weeks ago when the Panthers played the Warriors, they went over there without no Origin players, no expectation to win, and they just actually played an excellent game and won. Because it's just expectation comes into a bit of pressure. All of a sudden, the team who's not supposed to win scores a try or two. They get a lot of momentum. They feed off that. Then things just change. So, look, anything can happen in this game. And we may as well get to our Origin predictions. Score and anytime try scorer for Victor and myself. Look, I'll go first. I think New South Wales win. I think this New South Wales team, like I said at the top, we have had the luxury of having the same team for all 3 games, bar just I think it was one change that we've had to make in the forwards on the bench pretty much. So that was unfortunate injury to Mitch Barnett when he was ruled out with his ACL. So I think that and the fact that we're playing at home for me says that we win the game. Now, I think there's points in this game. I think, I'd like to see, hopefully it's a dry track, you know what I mean? Game 2 in Perth was a bit slippery. There was a few more errors than in game 1. So game 3, look, I'm going to go New South Wales. I think we win 20, I'm going to go 28-10 New South Wales win. Anytime try scorer. It's pretty easy one. I'm just going to go Brian Toto. Brian Toto, man, he's been killing it at Origin level. He's been killing it for the Panthers. So, it's a bit of a lock that he's one of the wingers scores, him or Lomax. It's like you just pick one or the other. For me, I'm going to go Toto. Toto's my guy. I love the way he plays. So I'm going to go New South Wales 28-10. Brian Toto, anytime try scorer. Victor, hit me with yours, please.
What side's Shibasaki going to be playing on? He'll be on the left.
Shibasaki will be left.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go 24-10. Did you say 24-10?
I said 28-10.
I'll go 32-10.
So you're basically copying me.
Okay, all right. Let me redo that.
No, you do you.
36-6.
Okay.
Lomax to score. Yeah.
All right. 36-6.
36-6. Yeah, we're calling it blowout.
All right.
Because I called it last game and friggin'
he's calling a blue wash, a whitewash.
I've called first try scorer both weeks actually. Yeah. Game 1 and 2.
I like it.
On the old bets when I was watching.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. So we'll see if that can continue in game 3.
That. Yeah, good stuff. All right, so that's Origin 3. We're excited. It's going to be a huge game, and can't wait. Hopefully the Blues get a good win. Hopefully my bro Val Holmes plays well, and our boys at the Roosters, hopefully they play well as well. But a Blues victory would be great to see.
Before we move on, what have you thought about this this Origin period? I feel like there's been more noise than usual around kind of the scheduling.
Yep.
Maybe that's because the comp's a lot closer than it has been in recent years. But what do you think is the solution for going forward? Do you think they'll make changes or?
Yep, for sure. And I'm so happy that you asked this question because it's been something that you're right has been trending. The question's being raised a lot more.
Yeah.
Excuse me now about the games and the Origin interruption and the quality of the games. And look, for me, I think something needs to change. I think I've always been like, I love tradition. I love the tradition of NRL, but I also think like this is the speed of the game now, the intensity, the meters per minute, the contact, it's higher than it ever has been. And if players are playing on a Wednesday and backing up on a Friday, like Val Holmes did mid-series, and when Kalen Ponga was rested, when the Knights played the Dragons, like for me, playing a game on Wednesday of that intensity and then playing an NRL game on Friday is just crazy. Like that's not a duty of care in looking after your players' health, I feel. Yeah. And while he gets, he would have got a lot of time off after that, I just feel like something needs to change. The scheduling, we need to make a change. Now, what that is, I'm not 100% sure on yet. Whether it's standalone games, whether we have a period of time off, what day these Origin games are played. Look, I'm sure people smarter than me will make those decisions, but I think something needs to change because, in saying that as well, like you look at this weekend's game. There's only 5 games on the weekend, right? So obviously less games, less content, but also obviously Origin players missing, which then gives other guys to come in and play. Now, some of those games aren't the highest of quality because the top tier players are missing, but also it gives younger guys like an opportunity. And when I was younger, I was one of those young guys at Origin time who got opportunity to play more NRL when Origin players were missing. So it'd be wrong of me to say, that it'd be wrong of me to say that I think players, we should stop the whole competition.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, now that obviously I'm a bit older, it's like, well, I want to see the best players playing every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not missing out. So look, like I said, it is a touchy subject. There's pros and cons to both sides of it. But for me, I just feel that guys playing on Wednesday and then guys backing up and playing on Friday is just crazy now. And I think that something needs to be changed to protect the players and their health. Our top tier, our best players in the competition, we need to protect them. And then also, obviously the integrity of the game, the quality of the game, the fans, you know what I mean? Fans are rocking up to watch their favourite players play, and they're actually not playing because they're ready for Origin. Yeah. Like, are those guys missing out on their value for the tickets? Like, I'd love to know what the fans think about it, to be honest. Like, so if you've got a comment or an opinion on it, let us know. Drop us a comment in wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. We'd love to hear it for sure. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Let's move on. What do we got now?
Transfer talk. Reid Mahoney set to sign with the North Queensland Cowboys for a 3-year deal. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, it's official. Reid Mahoney. It's just been made official. I think it was yesterday that Reid Mahoney joins the Cowboys on a 3-year deal. My thoughts on this, I think it's a great signing. I think the Cowboys needed a number 9. Reece Robson's signed with the Roosters for the next 4 years, and they needed a good quality number 9 to come in there and fill that void that Reece Robson's leaving. So I think Reid Mahoney, look, from what I understand, he's had next year to go on his Bulldogs contract, and his management asked if he could if they were interested in extending, which they weren't, and then if he could look around and see what else is out there, which is then play on. So he's obviously been able to secure a 3-year deal. I think it's a great signing on both parties. It's a good fit for Reid Mahoney. Let's remember, Reid Mahoney was the Bulldogs captain a couple seasons ago. He's played a heap of first grade. He plays 80 minutes. He competes on everything. He gets in the opposition's faces. He's crafty. He's got excellent passing both sides of the ruck. And obviously that leadership qualities that I spoke about will help the Cowboys. Like, when you can add a guy in the mix with Ruben Cotter, Tom Dearden, Scott Drinkwater, Reid Mahoney, that's a pretty good 4, kind of leadership crew. I think these guys can keep building in the next couple of years. So I think it's a good signing for the Cowboys and for Reid Mahoney, and I think he'll love it up there. Like, you move up there to North Queensland.
Well, he's originally a Queenslander.
He's a Queenslander. Yeah, I'm not sure whereabouts he's from, but I don't think he's from North Queensland. But look, I think it's a great signing on both parts, and I think he'll add a lot to that Cowboys team, and I think he'll enjoy his footy up there. But on the other hand, it's like, it's a crazy decision for me. Like, the Dogs are coming first, and they're just like, Mahoney, you can go.
They're just ripping up
Sexton, you can go. You know what I mean? So it's like, who's going to play hooker for the Dogs next year? I think it might be Bailey Hayward. I think the young kid who's a great young player. I really like Bailey Hayward, but it's like, I don't know. Reid Mahoney's delivered for the Dogs, in the past couple of years. Look where they're at the moment. And they're not leading the comp, but they're in comfortably in the top 4. Yeah. So, I think time will tell on these decisions the Dogs are making if they continue to have success next year. If they don't have success next year, like, the media is going to be just probably hounding them about these decisions they've made about letting Sexton go, letting Mahoney go. Yeah. You know what I mean? 2 obviously starting members of your spine. It changes the whole dynamic of your team. Yeah. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Who else?
Toby Sexton also.
Oh, yeah.
Quitting the Bulldogs.
So Sexton off to Catalans for 2 years. An interesting one, I thought. Now, obviously, for a long time before they'd signed Lachlan Galvin, it was like, Sexton hasn't signed yet. Like, what's actually happening? So something was obviously going on in the background. Whether the Dogs had said, "Look, we're not in for next year. We're out," and then obviously, no other options where he could probably go and play and start. Obviously, because there's teams have already got their probably halves for next season and their salary cap sorted. Now, to me, I don't know the actual ins and outs of the deal. It's a 2-year deal at the moment. To me, it potentially, if I was his agent, I'd be like, mate, you sign 1 year over there with then an option in your favour for the following year, so you can actually negotiate back with like the Perth Bears and then other teams in the NRL. So, look, I think it's a good move for him if he can go over there and play well. Like, you see other guys who go over there, they have a little stint and they come back. For him to go and spend a year in France and potentially build up the team over there, put all his whole DNA over the team, because it'll basically be the Toby Sexton show for Catalan next year. So, which is a good thing for him. And if he can go over there and dominate, have a good season, then they bring in like the Man of Steel potential. If he can do all that, get Catalan into the finals, then who knows? We might see him back in the NRL. I still think he has plenty to offer in the NRL at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see.
For sure. Next up.
All right.
The games.
Yes, let's move into our reaction from this past weekend's game. And it started off on Friday night with the Broncos. What an amazing comeback. 22 against the Bulldogs, 18. Insane comeback. Look, the Broncos were lifeless for the first 60 minutes of this game. Both players obviously missing both teams obviously missing players through Origin, and which then obviously, as we spoke about, gives other guys a bit more of an opportunity to come in. Burton shifted from 5'8" to centre, which meant there was a Galvin-Sexton combination in the halves, and the Broncos were only tackled 4 times inside the Bulldogs 20 in the first half, which just goes to show who had all the ball in the first half. The Dogs were scoring tries off kicks. The Dogs kicked early a lot, forcing pressure onto the Broncos. Adam Reynolds probably didn't have his best night with the boot. He kicked a couple out on the full, which put pressure on the Broncos, which obviously meant they were forced to make more tackles. And then Connor Tracy had that professional foul on Stags. But Brisbane come back from an 18-0 deficit to take the lead at the back end of the second half. And off the back of this play, which they ran twice and they scored 2 tries off. And I really enjoyed this play from Ezra Mam. And on one option, it was Deloise Hoyter, who's just running a nice line paired up with his back rower. And Ezra Mam gets across field, gets out the back, and throws a nice cutout ball. Deloise Hoyter with a nice try running hard. And a great story for him. He's pretty sure he made his NRL debut in 2015 and he only played a handful of games, but he's still in the NRL 10 years later. I think he might have played 13 games over a 10-year period, something like that. Don't quote me, but insane stats. I mean, it just goes to show like the resilience and, I guess the mindset for him to actually still be here and still playing and being grateful and just enjoying his experience at the moment for the Broncos. And then the other one was again off an Ezra Mam pass, which was of the exact same shape. Reynolds gets the ball. They've both got another double lead. Mam out the back, the same double lead shape again, and he plays short to the back rower who scores again. So really nice shape, really well executed by the Broncos. And I thought Ezra Mam, like I said, I thought he had a great second half. He was kind of the reason that he got the Broncos back into the game. And then there was a couple of kicks that Ezra Mam had in the back end of the second half, which I really liked as well. Obviously, I spoke about Reynolds and some of the errors he made, kicking those balls out in the full, and obviously getting all that pressure from Kikau, who loves a charge down. Kikau absolutely loves a charge down. And then they went to sort of option 2, which was Mam down that left side of the field. He had a couple of great nudges, especially when the game was on the line. And there was one kick where I was like, man, that was a nudge. Great kick. So Ezra Mam, well done to you. I thought that was that back end of the game, 20 minutes. And a huge win for the Broncos. I mean, they probably shouldn't have won that game with the amount of guys they've got out, obviously due to Origin. But you could see after the game how much it kind of meant to them, how much they were celebrating And that's what happens.
Yeah, they're on a bit of a roll now, hey?
Broncos are on a bit of a roll at the moment. Where are they sitting at the moment on the ladder?
They're still fifth.
They're still fifth. Yeah, they're fifth.
Behind
So
the Warriors.
it's still pretty tight, but from that 5th to kind of 10th spot.
Oh yeah.
So
Broncos are on 22
Yep.
points at 5th, and 10th are the Sharks on 20.
Yeah.
So
5 to 10.
still anyone's top 8.
Yeah.
Really.
So I think, like we spoke last week, I think the top 4 is kind of set, but that bottom 4 it's wide open for me. I really feel like it's wide open. And the Broncos, I mean, they're a chance to get in the top 4. They have to keep winning. But at the moment, they seem to be on a little bit of a roll. So for a team that's, I guess, always under pressure, the Broncos, always something going on with them. But let's move into the next game. Raiders 28 versus Dragons 24. Now, KO Weeks, holy moly, what a game this was. This is the best game I've seen KO Weeks play ever in his career. Some of his runs, some of his kick returns, outstanding, unbelievable. 346 meters. Yeah. 346 meters he ran for. He scored 3 tries. Absolutely crazy. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the forward pass here by the Dragons, the disallowed try, but that's not taking anything away from KO Weeks and the game he had. This kid is an absolute superstar. And look, I feel like he needs to improve his catching under the high ball. But everything else other than that, his speed, his agility, his ability to change direction and keep that speed reminds me of Teddy, the way that Teddy runs the ball. Like that low center of gravity, strong in the hips, good, puts a feet into the ground. Like I feel like, he's really building. And I haven't really heard him speak too much KO Week, so I'm not sure how.
He doesn't get many media interviews.
Yeah, I haven't seen him interviewed. Someone interview him. I'd love to hear from him. I'd love to hear his how he thinks he's going and his form, because I think it's absolutely outstanding. But yeah, like I said, that forward pass. Now Shane Flanagan was asked about it in the press conference, and he held back. He held back a lot. Poor Flano. He didn't want to get fined. You could see it. He mentioned that. But yeah, obviously he came back. 28-24.
I mean, the Raiders got disallowed.
Yeah.
Trey Mooney got his disallowed, and they weren't, when the captains challenged it, they weren't conclusive of if it was offside or not. So it's kind of
so it does
kind of even it out.
It does,
but it's not right. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
both ways.
Yeah.
That's the game.
That is the game. Tyrell Sloan, I thought he was actually pretty solid. I thought he had a good game. Been an interesting few weeks for him. Now, obviously, there's reports out there that he's free to sort of leave and have a look elsewhere. There was talks about the Panthers potentially being interested in him because Dane Laurie hasn't re-signed there yet. But he's got a really nice try off Gutho, and I thought this was a great play from Gutho when the Dragons needed it most. Gutho just puts an early crossfield kick out in yardage, and Sloan just did the rest. Jeez, he turned the burners on. The Raiders scored straight after halftime, and at the halftime speech, or like the halftime break, I was watching the TV and I could just see like Ricky addressing his players, and he just looked so calm and in control, and it just was like the whole team was just very calm at that moment, and it was almost like everything he was saying, the players were just taking it in, and they were all just like nodding their heads, just calm. Everyone was relaxed. So I really like that. It just feels like that's how the Raiders are playing at the moment. The Dragons finished with 67% completion with the ball on 14 errors, which those type of stats aren't going to win you any game. And obviously, this game's scoreline is close, but the completion rate just says that they should not have been in the game. They had a good fight back, the Dragons, but ultimately it wasn't enough. Now, the Dragons obviously sitting at 11th right now. What points are they on? They're just outside.
Dragons are just outside the Sharks on 18.
So they're on 18. So they're one game behind 10th spot. We just spoke about that 10th position at the moment. It's almost like, those positions from 5 to 10 are fighting out for those bottom parts of the 8. Now, obviously, the Dragons are one game back from that, so they've obviously got to win a couple in a row to kind of get their season moving, and probably need to do that sooner rather than later. For the Raiders, well, to me, look, I feel like the Raiders are winning without playing well. I feel like they've got a lot more improvement in them, and obviously, this origin period, they've missed Hudson Young. Obviously, they had Papali out on the weekend as well for the first time, but Sasangi has been doing an incredible job on that left edge for them, the Raiders. But it goes to show, to me, it's a sign of a good team when you can win, but you don't play well. And I think the Raiders have done that multiple times this season. And at the end of the day, when you look at the column, it's either a W or it's an L. And it doesn't matter how you played. You walk off the field, you take the W. And that's, to me, what the Raiders have been able to do. They've been able to stack W's without playing their best. But they've got, the next 9 or so weeks to build to their best football. And I think them at their best is a scary proposition for other teams.
Yeah. They've only had one bye as well.
One bye.
Well, they have one this week.
Yeah, one this week, and then they'll have one to go at the back end of the season,
which is great timing.
It's basically just locked them into the top 4 already, having those buys at the back end of the year and how many games they've played. And like I said, I still think they've got improvement in them, the Raiders. So well done to them. Mate, let's move on. Next game, Storm 26, Cowboys 20. Eli Katoa, mate, this kid is absolutely killing it at the moment. He rolled on with his magnificent form under the high ball. Now, I want to talk about this first try. So, Eli Katoa plays on the right side of the field. Now, just prior to this, he just made an error where he forced an offload out the back and the Storm lost possession of the ball. But then it got to last tackle on that left side of the field, and Eli Katoa kind of leaves his position on the right side of the field, comes over to the left. They put a kick up into that corner, and Eli Katoa chases down here and then basically scores on the left side of the field. I'm watching the game and I'm like, he's not supposed to be there. He's not supposed to be competing on that kick. But Eli, it just goes to show where he's at the moment, the confidence that he has in his game to be able to leave his edge and just say, I'm going over here. I'm just going to go and compete on a kick. And he gets upstairs, catches the ball and scores. Wow, what an amazing try by Eli Katoa, who wasn't supposed to be there. He has been in career best form at the moment for the Melbourne Storm and just an absolute tearaway. He can do it all at the moment, and I really enjoy watching him play for the Storm. Jackson Purdue, well, what a try he scored as well from that left centre position, midway, that midfield position where the Cowboys shifted out to the left. They really love that play where Jacko sweeps behind the back rower and Drinky gave him that ball. And I think Jacko needed a bit more ball on the weekend. He had a sort of a second rower playing in the centres. I can't remember his name, to be honest. I forget. Can you just check that?
Yeah.
I've had a mind blank. But I feel like he should have played. I feel like Jacko could have got more ball because I thought that centre, we'll get his name in a second. I've had a mind blank. He did a great job. He was aggressive, but that one time Jacko just absolutely burned him and ran and
Joe Chan.
Joe Chan.
Yeah.
My apologies. Joe Chan. I thought
he's
he
a second rower.
Yeah. Usually plays second row, but was playing in the centres on the weekend. And I thought he did a good job defensively for most part of the game. But that one position where Jacko scored, I was like, Jacko's obviously much quicker than him. So let's try and get Jacko some ball in some space. But that one time, wow. What a try. Jacko, who's been killing it for the Cowboys. And obviously now back in that centre position where he's actually played a lot more of his first grade. And obviously, Todd Payton made that call a couple of weeks ago to move Jacko into 6, which, look, I was a fan of. Jacko's, and the reason why he did that was because Jacko's played all of his juniors in the halves. And he obviously had he wanted to see what Jacko had in the halves in first grade. Yeah. And obviously it was hard because it was obviously at the expense of Cliffo, who I think has been doing a tremendous job for the Cowboys. And that obviously pushed Cliffo out of the team. Jacko came in. He didn't really have the same effect on the game as he did at centre. And obviously they didn't win games. They didn't play well. Cliffo comes back in. Jacko moves back to centres. Cliffo's been killing it for me. I really am so happy for Cliffo. I thought he was great on the weekend. Against the Storm, although they lost, I thought you can just tell how focused Cliffo is at the moment on his game, and he's still off contract at the moment. So interesting to see where Cliffo ends up. I still think he has a lot to offer in the NRL, and I'd love to see him stay in the NRL. I'd love to see him stay at the Cowboys, actually. So it will be interesting to see if he does stay at the Cows, because if he leaves, it's like, who's going to play 5'8" next year? Yep. Do they go back to putting Jacko in at 5'8"? Well, you know what you're going to get, I feel, now with Cliffo at 5'8". So it will be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I thought Drinky was solid again. He had a really nice celebration. The was it Billy, like the Billy Bowden one, when you know the old you're out, the cricket.
Cricket.
He scored and then he just raised the finger, but he had like a slight bend on the finger. It wasn't like straight. So if you know your cricket,
I think that's what they do.
Nah, like you remember Billy Bowden, the Kiwi umpire, he like bent his finger. Drinky's finger was slightly bent. So if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously
But
don't know.
yeah, I thought that was a good celly. Nick Meaney, he had a great game and some great cellies as well. 2 tries, 2 celebrations, 255 metres for Nick Meaney playing at fullback. You were actually you
told you in the car,
fan
right?
of the Aura
The
farming.
Aura farming.
Yeah,
Get a clip
let's
of
have
that.
a look.
Yeah, run a
Let's
clip
get
of
Victor
that.
on the screen right now.
Yeah,
Like,
run a
you just,
clip
can you imagine
of doing
Victor on the front
Mate,
of the
on
boat, just doing this?
Yeah, that's it.
You could do that.
Could do it for sure.
You could
maybe
do
get us-
that.
Maybe
Was it like-
we
yeah,
could do a
well-
vlog. Maybe. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah,
That's
like,
it.
I loved it, man.
Yeah,
I
love that. That was shit.
Yeah, I loved it.
good.
I feel like Victor. I could be rolling
I'm
the
all
boat.
over
I
it.
feel
Yeah,
like
you can
Victor
roll the boat. I'll be at the front.
You could be at the front, just aura
Done.
farming, just straight up. So, yeah, a good win for the Storm. I mean, they currently sit second at the moment, and Craig Bellamy, he looked a little bit more relaxed than usual. He wasn't blowing up as much, I feel, but obviously both teams down on a lot of Origin players. I think that's why they kind of play these two teams at this time, because they're both obviously losing a lot of players. So, yeah, Storm get the job done, and another win in Origin period for them puts them, I mean,
Up to second.
And this is year in, year out, this Melbourne Storm. They're a constant in the top 4. Like, I couldn't remember a year they had finished outside the top 4. It's absolutely crazy. So, well done to them, and well done to Craig Bellamy, the GOAT. Next games, Tigers 30, Roosters 28. Now, obviously another hugely Origin-affected game. The Roosters having 5 players out, and the Roosters, obviously, Jerome Luai out through Origin, Uppy out with concussion. Obviously, they just lost Talon De Silva as well. And the Tigers dominated the early exchanges of this game. They controlled a lot of the ball, which then allowed them to score some points early. They got out to a 20-0 lead at one stage, which, watching the game, I just did not think was going to happen. But it just goes to show, when you kind of a little bit ill-disciplined with the ball, you give the opposition chances. Like, if they're good enough to execute, like, you're in danger. So the Roosters did fight back with great tries to Toops and Marky Mark before half-time. And then when I rewatching the game, I saw Michael Ennis called it on Fox. And when he was calling for more ball for Marky Mark, Nwanga Nitawase, when things to happen, and he obviously scored 2 tries, but it was almost like, get Mark the ball. You know what I mean? He looked dangerous at the moment. That second try, or that first try, he kind of beat like 5 guys, and that second try, that kind of in and away, and that flick was just beautiful, really, really nice. Sorry, not the flick, the in and away, the show, and then the score. It was great. So Mark's done an incredible job. Like we've spoken about him before. For a guy who's only played less than 20 rugby league games in his career, like, he's doing tremendous things.
He's killing it.
Killing it.
What do you think his best position is?
That's a good I think at the moment in the Roosters best team, his position's on the wing, but gosh, he's doing a good job in the centres. You see what he did in the centres? Like, he's got that ability to, like, skip in and out, right foot, left foot, flick
out,
and set up, flick, and then post line back in through the middle too.
It's Joey Manu, like, hey.
It is. That's what you want from your centre. You want a centre who can set up their winger, and I feel like Mark can set up wingers for tries in the centre position as well. He's got obviously the hops and the leaps. Athletically, like, incredible. You watch him in the gym, the way he moves, the quickness he moves, like Olympic lifting, the strength, it's impressive to see. So he's only going to get better and better, I feel. For the Tigers, well, it was a pretty monumental moment for the Tigers. All 3 Inu brothers scored a try. And I thought they were all great, to be honest. I thought Latu had a really, really great game. You know, I was critical of his kicking game last week, but I thought Adam Dewey took a lot of control of the kicking game this week, and then Latu was able to play on that left side of the field with his brother Samuela, and they were just together. It was almost like they were on a mission, I thought. they looked really obviously comfortable playing together. And then Latu was interviewed after the game. Kind of the first time I've heard him speak as well. Said he was really enjoying the game, playing with his brothers. And obviously the win was for Benji, who's been a little bit under the pump. Obviously the Tigers had lost 6 in a row. It was a big game for them. But a really great weekend for the Fainu brothers. I thought they were really, really solid. There was one kind of area in the back end of the game, though, where they looked like they lost their way a bit in attacking the try line. There was a late offload, and it was like, are they they set up for a field goal? They were in front by 12 at that stage, and it was like, hey, like just get in position, kick a field goal, like end the game. But they never really got there. The game, the set was ugly, and that was probably lucky it didn't come back to bite them, because if it did, it would have been like, gosh, we got that area of the game wrong. And this is probably a game I thought the Roosters, I thought we should have won this game. And I watched Robbo's post-match press conference, and, he seemed optimistic. I thought he was really proud of the guys, the way that they fought back. And I'm watching the game, I'm like, we're on here. We're going to come back and win this game. But it just wasn't to be. And I guess props to the Tigers. They did what they needed to do to get the job done. They got a W and a much-needed W for the Tigers and their season. Before we move on, I just want to say a massive congratulations to the 2 Roosters NRL debutants, Max McCarthy, who has gone from basically the Chook Pen, the Roosters cheer, supporter section, to NRL. He's come through every grade of the juniors, through Howard Development, through Matthews Cup, SG Ball, Jersey Flag, New South Wales Cup, and now first grade. He's a true blue Roosters fan from the eastern suburbs, loves the Chooks, and it was great to see him to be able to get his NRL debut, playing in front of his friends and his family at Allianz. And then Tom Rodwell as well made his NRL debut. I thought he was really, really great. Ran for over 200 metres, almost scored a couple tries, but was so close, but did end up getting over. And Tommy Rodwell, I thought, had a great game. So well done to those 2 boys on their NRL debut. Keep an eye out for them moving forward. Next game, Manly 30, Souths 12. Now the key takeaways in this game, well, Brandon Smith made his long-awaited injury return after an ACL last season, and it wasn't great news for Brandon Smith coming from the field late in the game with another knee injury. Looks like MCL. Now, it looks like at the moment 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
For Brandon Smith, MCL, which is not the major ligament. Obviously, the major ligament is the ACL. The MCL is on the inside of the knee, the medial ligament. Now, 6 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks kind of almost takes you to the end of the year. You know what I mean? If he's out for 8 weeks, it's almost like there's one game after that to go. So, yeah. I saw Cheese put out something on his Instagram story last night, because it was Matt Lodge who made the tackle, and just kind of standing up for Matt Lodge and saying that, I know a lot of fans were pretty upset about the tackle and kind of, I wouldn't say cannonball mechanism, but diving in kind of low at the legs. And it's obviously the same injury that Siwa Wong had a couple of weeks ago when they played the Cowboys. So it's probably something we want to rule out of the game, if I'm honest, like that motion of diving at the knees.
At the legs, yeah.
It's never good to see people get injured in the game from things that can be avoided. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye out on the Cheese and his recovery, but we wish him well for sure. I think it was a good start to this game. I thought both teams going back and forth in the early exchanges before Manly finally scored in the 17th minute. And Manly then went up. They went up 14-0 at halftime and came out and scored a try straight away. And it got to 24-0. And at 24-0 at Brookvale on a Sunday afternoon in front of their old boys, Manly, I'm thinking it could get to 50 here. It could get to 50. But then it was almost like Tallis Duncan just turned on a switch and he was playing in the centres and just went off. He ended up scoring 2 tries, 2 really nice tries, actually. I thought he had he had a go, Tallis Duncan, playing out of position. Keon was the only forward for South Sydney who ran over 100 metres. He had 168 metres. But this game, it could have been more exciting, I thought. But, yeah, it's probably the South forward pack. Obviously a lot of it weighs on the shoulders of Keon and Jai Arrow. And Jai Arrow probably had a bit of a quieter game, with regards to his standards. But, yeah, I think Manly got the job done, and, it was probably suitable that they won at the home. I thought they were going to win. But anyway, the South sits second last
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a pretty injury-riddled season.
They have. They've had a lot of disruptions.
Lots of disruptions. What's your take on the turbo move these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Really like it. I like the turbo move. I think he's finding ways to get in the game from the centres. He's not just staying on that right centre position. He's moving, he's floating, he's popping up in other areas of the field, which we'll constantly see. And that'll be on like if you're playing if you're playing Manly, on the preview it'll be like Turbo's right centre, but he'll leave. You know what I mean? So be wary about where he goes. He's looking for the ball. So it's a different threat, I think, for Turbo. So yeah, I like it, and I think it's good for him. He doesn't have to do as many Ks. His legs are a little bit older now, and it's going to help him and his longevity in the game.
Yep.
I feel, for sure.
Love it.
All right.
Top 5.
Let's move on to the top 5 now. A new segment, the top 5, where we discuss the top 5 of any subject that we think. And this week, we're doing the top 5 greatest try celebrations of all time. Now, at number 5, let's have a look at it. Mark Riddell clapping himself in the stands. Let's have a quick look at it. Piggy Riddell.
You nearly went A over T here. He's done the Sally Pearson.
How good's that?
Had to clip that while I was in all sorts of trouble. I actually jumped straight over because that bloke with the beard scared the crap out of me, so I had to get back over the fence.
Love that. And we saw Piggy Riddell. There was a bit of a tribute in the NRLW game on the weekend, actually, and they panned to the wrong person. It was hilarious. They did.
Oh, mate, it's all good fun. So, yeah, it's everyone has a laugh, so it's all good.
Love that. Love that. So, Piggy Riddell, number 5, clapping himself in the stands. Number 4, Wendell Saylor, didgeridoo in the Indigenous game with the corner post. Let's have a look at it. Dell scores. Gets up. Gets the didgeridoo. All the boys are dancing. Have a go. Look at that. Yeah.
That's hectic.
Oh, I love that. That just brings back so many memories. I love that. That was great. So that's number 4. Number 3, we've got Braden Hamlin Ueli doing the people's elbow with Jack Williams. Have a look at this. Ueli storms over. Gets up. Oh! Hits Jack Williams, then does the people's elbow, hits the top rope, then boom, gets back to people's elbow. How good's that? Big wrestling guys, those boys. We used to love our WWE. Look at that. Get off me, Reece Walsh. Look at that. Yeah, that was awesome. Great stuff. Great stuff. We want to see more of it. All right. The next one is number 2, Henry Farfili. Now, we all remember this one. The Henry Farfili, let's have a look at it. Scores a try, gets up. Get the coconut. Open the coconut out. There you go. Rip it open. Oh, beautiful coconut. Yeah, that was awesome. That was one of the OG ones, I feel, Henry Farfili. That was like before Try July even happened. And he's just doing it.
Yeah.
Just for fun. So that was great. All right. Number 1. The number 1 top try scoring celebration of all time goes to the New South Wales Blues with the hand grenade. There it is. Have a look at it. Fletch bites the bullet. There it is. Hand grenade. Get down. Yeah. Man, can you believe that's in like state of origin? A hand grenade celebration in Origin. I wonder who came up with that idea. I'd love to know. I might ask Fletch one day who came up with that idea, because that is just straight out savage. And I'm pretty sure after that series, Queensland went on an 8-game run. I'm pretty sure 8-series run after that. So
thanks, Fletch.
So thanks for that, Fletch. No, that was awesome. I absolutely love that. That was great. I remember that as a kid. All right, let's move on to our Big Footy Guy of the Week. Now, our first nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week is Xavier Willison. 68 minutes, 203 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 43 tackles for Xavier Willison. He had an incredible game. Obviously, the Broncos missing Payne Haas through Origin. They needed another front rower to stand up. Willison, I think, had a great game. He's really building, I feel, his NRL career, and I feel like he's going to get more of a role as these seasons continue to go on. So well done to him. Our next nomination, KO Weeks. We spoke about what a game he had on the weekend. 3 tries, 1 try assist, 2 line breaks, 4 line break assists, 9 tackle breaks, 346 metres. That's a career game for KO Weeks. He was absolutely outstanding, so well done to him. And our last nomination is Nafahu White from the Sydney Roosters, who has been killing it so far this year. I feel like he's had almost a career year with what he's been able to do on the field. He played 73 minutes, ran for 250 meters, 5 tackle breaks, 45 tackles. He has really just gone to another level after the departure of Jared Weir-Hargraves for the Roosters this season. I'm so happy for him. It's just like great to see.
23 years old as well.
23 years old. He's going to play a heap more test matches for the Kiwis and just re-sign with the Roosters for a further 3 seasons. So really well done for him. Let's move on to fan questions.
Fan
Victor,
questions.
what do we
Let's do
got?
it. What do you eat after a game?
What do I eat after a game? All right, that's a good question. I usually like to eat a cheat meal, but I wouldn't say like it's very like completely dirty. Like for me, I always like to go and have grilled. So I always get like a grilled burger, chips, and some chicken from grilled.
What's your go-to?
My go-to is usually just either simply grilled with cheese and then large chips, sauce, and some chicken bites. It's nothing like, it's not too dirty, but like I'll have ice cream as well after a game usually. Every now and then, like I might get, a pizza, or I don't really eat Macca's or KFC too much. Not really.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get like chips and a burger, I'd more go to grilled than probably Macca's. On the rarest of occasions, it might be like really late. Like if I was playing like an 8 o'clock game and it was like midnight and I was driving home and like, for example, grill wasn't open. There was nothing else open. And I'm like, well, I've got to go through Macca's drive-thru to get some food.
Yeah.
That's, and then I'd probably
It's
get
the last resort.
Yeah. So,
Love it.
yeah.
All right, next up. Do footy players chuck sickies like normal people? And do you need medical certificates if you do?
Yes. Do they chuck sickies? Yeah. I don't know, actually. I've never chucked a sickie in my life. I think players, I think they would, to be honest, but I don't actually know. To me, it's like, I don't need to chuck a sickie. This is my job. It doesn't really feel like work, but
Yeah, playing footy.
I play footy for a living. Do I need to provide medical certificate? Well, you need to make contact with a doctor. You obviously then need to like sort of say what your symptoms are and what's actually going on. You can't just like not rock up. You need to speak to the doctor before, to say that you're sick or you're crook or whatever's going on. So it's quite normal. Like if you're sick, you want to stay away because you don't want to bring that sickness into the sheds and give it to other players. So it's actually better if you're sick to stay away and have a day or two off training than to be passing it on to everyone else. So,
Yep. But
do they have sickies? Well, I don't know, but I'm sure some players have had sickies in their time, for sure. I know I've never had one.
You'll let us know not next year if you actually have.
I actually have never had one. I've actually never had one.
Love it. All right, next up. Are Tonga favourites for Pacific Championships with the Fainu and Katoa halves pairing?
Yeah, I think like they're going to be hard to beat, for sure. I think, Tonga have always been renowned for their forward pack. Obviously, Tamalalo, Aden Fanua-Blake, they've always been renowned for like the physicality of their forwards and the way they've been able to play. But now it's like these young kids in the halves, like Fainu and Katoa, like they can now run the ship, and they've shown they can do it at NRL level. And I think when they play for Tonga, like I just see them going to another level. Their game management, their ball playing, their decision making on that next stage is going to be really, really interesting to watch. And obviously great for Tonga, great for Tongan fans. And look, I look forward to watching Tonga play at the end of the year for that reason. I think these two are going to kill it. So I think favourites, look, I think you always have to kind of give it to New Zealand. But Tonga, geez, can they beat New Zealand? 100% they can, definitely.
Sure. I think they have Lehigh Hopewade as well at fullback now. So.
Yep, they got a good team. Got a good team.
All right, next up. What would you be doing if you were not a footy player? Let's say start of your career. Say you never played footy.
If I wasn't a footy player, gosh, I don't actually know what I'd be doing, to be honest. I never had a backup plan when I was a kid. I was so fixated on playing footy, and people that said to me that I wasn't going to make footy, I was just so driven to prove them wrong. And that's what motivated me as a kid. The fact that, hey, this is what I want to do. All I wanted to do was play footy. If I actually answer the question without like what I just said, I think that I would probably be, I don't know, maybe like a PE teacher. PE teacher. man, it's actually a hard thing for me to
say.
answer, to be honest, because I never wanted to be anything else.
Love it. Is there any decent players in the lower grades that we should keep a look out for in the future?
There's a lot. There are so many, especially at the Roosters. There's a lot of young kids at the Roosters. Toby Rodwell, keep an eye on this kid. This name he's got it all. He's a half. He has great ball playing, great running game, great kicking game, a maturity on his head years above him. He's very mature, always wants to learn. I really like Toby. There's a couple of other players. Ethan Roberts as well, a young back rower. There's a stack at the Roosters. And I'm sure there's plenty across other teams. But so far at the Roosters, like I'm really enjoying seeing some of these young kids progress through the grades, and I think they'll be making their effect on NRL, in the couple of years.
Yep, love it. How good are the Fainu brothers?
Yeah, so
Latu.
I mean, we just touched on Latu. Samuela had a great season last year. He's probably had a bit more of a lower impact season this year, but I feel like his game on the weekend for the Tigers against the Roosters was really nice. And if they can continue to link up, these Fainu brothers, like all three of them scored a try on the weekend. They're a big part of the Tigers. They want to play there. They want to be there for Benji. We saw that in the post-game press conference. So it's very rare. I mean, we obviously saw it with the Burgess brothers. They had 3 and 4 brothers playing together. Very rare that you see brothers, 3 of them playing together. So, they can stick together and keep doing what they're doing on the trajectory. Like, it's going to be good for them.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
Mate, do we have that clip of you scoring? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my phone.
All right. Have we got another question, or are we done?
Yeah, we do. One more.
Oh, okay. One more question. All right. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
You're right. Who is the player with the most aura that you have ever played with?
The most aura. Jesus. That's a tough question because it's hard to put, when you play with someone, it's hard to put anyone on a pedestal as having aura because you just see them as like a mate who you kind of treat like anyone else.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, gosh, I could answer this question. When I saw like NRL players, I'd be like, oh my God, like you just freeze because you're just in awe of them.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously some of the biggest superstars I've played with, gosh, I mean, like Shaun Johnson was king of everyone in New Zealand. Manu Vatuvei at his peak was king of everyone in New Zealand. Gosh, who else have I played with? It was more like when I was younger, guys, you know what I mean? Like Gal, when I was very young, when I made my debut, he was obviously playing all for Australia and New South Wales at that time. Jeremy Smith as well. He was at the top of his game playing with the Kiwis. Even like Michael Ennis, Ben Barber. When I was younger, they had a fair bit of aura about them, like skill and things like that. So it's hard when you're actually in there when you're mates with them. But when I was younger, it's like I said, you see guys and you're just like, whoa, man. That's crazy. He rocks up in a Mercedes, you know what I mean? I'm driving a freaking 96 Commodore. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Anyway.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to see it?
Yep, let's see it. All right. This is Victor's goal from the weekend penalty, so I'm just going to have a quick look right now. All right, here we go. Love this. All right. Here we go. Oh, nice.
Hey, you see that? You like that one?
Oh, a slight little silly.
Little Selly. I don't really think about Sellies, to be honest.
We need more sellies, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need some tips from you.
That was good.
on the
Just a little
Sellies.
push to the right corner.
Hey, bottom right corner.
So did you have that sort of picked before? Like, did you actually you were going right corner before you actually you backed
Yeah,
it?
you gotta psych yourself into picking a
So
spot.
I'm going right corner.
Yeah.
So that's like I never actually noticed that. I'm always like with free kicks. Am I just picking on the spot, or am I just like I'm picking a spot and I'm nailing it?
I had my spot.
Okay.
Yeah, before. Otherwise, like you get into two minds if you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like while you're up there.
Yeah, so
A
cool.
lot to think about.
But then in the next time, like you don't want the team to do research on you and just go there.
Research on me.
I know I'm a keeper. I know he's on bottom left.
Guy.
Bottom left every time. Bottom left every time.
They're gonna have spies on me at training.
That's what happens in professional level. They research you. They understand your next move. That's why we talk about second year syndrome a lot in the game, because they see you, they research you. That's why it's hard. I said last week, it's hard to get to the NRL, but it's hard to stay in the NRL because they just do research on you.
Oh, there you go.
But
Got to always evolve. So I need to evolve.
So you need to evolve. Next time I want top left corner.
Top left corner. All right, I got you.
All right. Let's go. All right, that's it. Thanks very much for watching today or tuning in, audio, whatever you guys listen on. Like I said at the top, please make sure you rate and review us on the audio platforms. Like and subscribe here on YouTube. Drop us a comment. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.